Hey, welcome to Cooking with Yampy. Today, I will be showing you, my wonderful viewer, how to make your own home-cooked chili. That was actually really hot and I burned my tongue. Hello, all you wonderful people, and welcome back to Cooking with Yampy, the show that hasn't had an episode in 2 years, which was totally a planned thing, so that I could drop this video on you unexpectedly, and not just me being busy and preoccupied with other stuff and filming a couple episodes in the meantime and being too lazy to cut them. But who cares? Today, I'm going to be making what I like to call throw a bunch of stuff that goes together in a pot and cook it, colloquially referred to as chili. Now, before we begin, it's important that you stay safe and clean while cooking, which is why I'm going to be donning the officially branded Cooking with Yampy oven mitts and apron. As Yampy, I can don these necessary items by simply undergoing my magical girl transformation. But for the rest of you, you can find them at our official merch store at u2.be/dqw4w9wgxcq. Link in the description. Allow me to demonstrate. Doma, 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 doma! With these powerful protective devices, we can ensure that cooking will be safe, clean, and enjoyable. Now, in order to make our throw a bunch of things that go together in a pot and cook them, colloquially referred to as chili, we'll need a couple important ingredients. First off, we need some ground beef. We also need garlic. We have a nice serrano pepper here to add some spice. Hopefully it's spicy, I haven't tried it yet, but I know serrano peppers are supposed to be, so if not, I got scammed. Onion and bell pepper. 2 cans of pinto beans. These are 15.5-ounce cans. And a number of spices, including salt, pepper, crushed red pepper, chili powder, another type of pepper, because pepper is good and we can never have too much pepper. I will live to eat my words, I'm sure. Parsley. I think that's everything. Hopefully. We'll see. Oh, no, I almost forgot. The secret ingredient? Cinnamon sticks. Cinnamon sticks! Now, the first step, since we're using frozen ground beef, we'll need to make sure it's thawed. Now, if you're an intelligent individual, unlike myself, you probably thawed it in the fridge overnight, or perhaps thawed it in a bowl of water an hour or so beforehand. But unfortunately, I'm the one cooking, which means neither of those happened. So instead, I am going to defrost it in the microwave on 50% power for a few minutes. Cinnamon sticks! During the process of defrosting, it became rather quickly evident that this is not in fact ground beef, but rather some sort of steak or something. At Cooking with Yampy, we value safe, clean, and enjoyable cooking, which is why I'm using some random beef that I found in my freezer that's been there for over a year, and that's hopefully still good. If you're trying this at home, I would highly recommend using something that you're sure is ground beef and isn't bad. But for the sake of the video, we will continue using this steak. Since I'm using steak instead of ground beef, my next step is to chop it up into little strips so that I can cook it sort of similar to ground beef. Obviously, if you're using ground beef, this step is unnecessary. while I do this, I'd like to take a moment to say that you, yes you, you're looking wonderful today. Keep it up. Alright, we're about halfway done. If you haven't learned to eat continental style, I would highly recommend it. As you can see, I'm using a technique derived from continental style for chopping the meat, and it works quite well. Continental style is also very handy when you're eating because you can cut with one hand and then, pick up and eat with the other, and you don't have to go back and forth. So I would highly recommend. Hashtag not sponsored, although I don't know who would sponsor an ad about continental style eating, because it's not like that makes anybody money, but just things to consider, I suppose. Alright, we're nearing the last chunk here. Bit of a chonky boy, but the mic picks that sound up very loud. Huh. And with that, our steak is nice and shredded. Looking at the quantity of beans we have here, I'm wondering, I might not use this entire amount of steak. I might save the second half and make like tacos or something with, and then just use half in the chili. Now, of course, at Cooking with Yampy, we value safe, clean, and enjoyable cooking, which means to keep things safe and clean, you should always thoroughly wash anything that touched raw meat with soap and warm water. I'm using this 7th generation dish soap. Not sponsored, but I like it, so it works. And I think it's good for the environment or something. I'm not entirely clear, but yeah, something like that. I make sure to wash with scalding hot water to ensure maximum cleanliness. Unfortunately, my fingers must make a few sacrifices. Alright, so there's a few things I lied about in the ingredients section. We don't in fact use garlic, but we do need olive oil, which I have behind me over there, as well as some canned tomatoes, but we'll get to that in a little bit. For now, I'm going to chop up the vegetables that we do need, that is the bell pepper and the onion, and a lot of people put celery in chili, but my grocery store doesn't sell a small amount of celery, and it's not something I eat on a regular basis, so if I bought a large amount of it, it would probably go to waste, and so it just didn't seem worth it for this video. But you could put celery in if you have it. I have a nice chopping knife here. This one's actually a little small. Yeah, that wasn't a knife. This is a knife. So I'm probably going to chop up about half this bell pepper and put it in. I will put the other half in a container and save it in the fridge for something else later. Alright, it's time for the chopping montage. Alright, that should do nicely. Now let's get the onion. While I'm chopping up this onion, I'd like to relay a cool science fact I learned the other day. See, conventional science says that onions make you cry while you chop them because of special fumes they let off. But the actual case, according to psychological research by sources that totally exist that I can't name, is that you're so sad about that you're murdering this poor onion that you actually cry out of sadness for murdering. I don't know where I was going with this. Yeah, anyway, I'll just chop up the onion now. This is a pretty thick boy. Let's use I think a quarter of it is probably plenty. So let's go ahead and chop this up. If you have a bigger cutting board, I would recommend using it if you're chopping up multiple vegetables, or perhaps moving off the ones you already chopped to something else. That would have been a smarter way to do this, but it's fine. Alright, we have our vegetables nice and chopped up. Now the next step is to start cooking, which is what the show is named for. So, should I even put all this other stuff on the show? Who knows? But yes, it definitely will be on the show because this is where I make all the jokes and stuff. Oopsies, I almost forgot to chop up the hot pepper, which is the most important part. Let's see, how spicy is this boy? Alright, he's fairly spicy. Actually, I'm gonna go get some water. Given the quantity of stuff... You know what? All in. Let's go. There's no such thing as too spicy. Now, the most important thing to do after you finish chopping a hot pepper is it's possible that there could be dirt or dust or something in your eyes, so take the hand that you just used that touched the pepper juice and rub your eyes. For legal reasons, this is a joke, don't do this, but also YouTube content. YouTube content. Alright, we have arrived at the part of the show where we do the actual cooking, and I have a very jury-rigged setup with my camera duct taped to the top of the microwave up there, which totally isn't going to backfire in any way. Now let's go ahead and turn the oven on, or not oven, the stove on this burner to medium. I can't really show you my thing, but it just has low, high, medium, and a bunch of things in between. There's no numbers, so if your stove is a fancy, newfangled one that kids these days use, I can't help you and tell you what the number is, sorry. But medium. And we'll add... That's probably good. I thought I was going to use up all my oil, but I guess not. So that'll be... We'll give that a minute to warm up, and then we'll start adding the steak. Cinnamon steak. Also, in the process of getting prepared for this step, my very large brain was once again shown in that what I thought was a can of chopped tomatoes is actually tomato sauce. So, I don't actually have chopped tomatoes for this. But that's fine, we'll just use the tomato sauce instead. It'll be a little disappointing not having the texture of the tomatoes in there, but at least it'll have the taste and stuff. So, yeah, this will be very interesting, very different from the chili you would make were you to follow these steps correctly with the proper ingredients on hand. I think this is heated up a fair bit, so let's go ahead and add some of the steak strips. That's probably good. I'll stick the rest of the steak back in the fridge. And we'll go ahead and stir this around. Basically, you want to get your ground beef, if you're making this correctly, nice and brown and crumbly. In this case, we'll just brown the steak, probably. Alright, we're starting to get close to brown, so I'll go ahead and add in all the vegetables we chopped up. we'll start with the pepper and onion. And I'll go ahead and add in the bell pepper as well, probably. I'm enjoying the variety of colors in this. It's a very colorful thing, which is nice. At least, we don't have tomatoes, but we do have the red and yellow bell peppers, which add some flair, at least. So, you know, we take those. We're getting pretty close. The onions could probably use a couple more minutes. In the meantime, I will go ahead and start opening up the cans of beans. Yeah, okay, this is looking pretty good. So now, I will go ahead and open up the can of tomato sauce. And then I will take a couple of the secret ingredient, cinnamon sticks, and put them in as well. And I will add in the beans now. The question of the day is chili a soup or a stew? Comment below with your answers, or if you're watching the live premiere, use this side. Yeah, the chat on the left. No, the right. Yeah, that's the right. The chat on the side of the screen that the chat is on. Now, of course, it wouldn't be chili without the chili powder. So let's go ahead and... Oh, wait. This is new. I haven't pulled off the seal yet. Let's do that, for starters, and we can always add more. And then I will go ahead and add some salt. That's probably good. As well as the parsley, which also needs to have the seal taken off. Funny story, I had another thing of parsley, and it was still mostly there, and it fell behind the oven, and I can't get it. So, like, I had to go buy a new thing of parsley. So that's cool, I guess. How do you open this? There we go. You know, gotta keep those fingernails nice and short for piano, but at the same time, sometimes short fingernails make things challenging. Add a plentiful amount of parsley. Let's give it a good shake. Mix. Whatever. Or a good... That's what it is. And we'll give it a good scramble. Hello, this is the food cooking lawyer. Not lawyer. This is the food cooking pianist, and today... I don't know. I don't know if anybody will even get that reference, but yeah. And we'll give it a good scramble. We'll give it a few minutes to cook just with the cinnamon sticks and stew and all that, but it's looking like we're about done-ish, more or less. Alright, it's time for the taste test. If I die here, tell my family I love them. And my friends. And most people in the world. I don't really have too many people who I don't like, hopefully. So, but yeah, anyway, taste test. Always make sure to be careful when you're first tasting something, because, you know, fresh out of the pot, it'll be really hot, and I'd rather not burn my tongue. But, you know. It's good. It could use more pepper, though. It is
not in the slightest bit spicy. So I guess maybe I should grab the second serrano pepper. That's probably a good amount. And we'll add some of the crushed red pepper as well, because crushed red pepper makes everything better. Not sponsored. Although, on the subject of sponsorships, we should address the elephant in the room. The L-elephant, if you get the joke, which you won't because nobody plays this game. But no, despite the product placement, I promise I'm not sponsored by Aegis, but I do work for the company, so technically, I think I have to include a disclaimer about that, because I don't know, it's confusing, but for legal reasons, I work for the company, it's not sponsored, but I do work for the company, and it's a fun game, so take my opinion that it's a fun game and the product placement with a grain of salt, I guess. However, hopefully that satisfies the lawyers who will come after my head. Alright, we've given a couple more minutes to stew. Let's try taste test round 2. It's good, but still needs more pepper. We'll go with that. That should be plenty, hopefully. And we'll add a bit more of this. Because crushed red pepper makes everything better. I think we're good on salt, so I won't add more. I do like to use a lot of salt because every time I go to the doctor, they're like, hey, you need to eat more salt. But, you know, at Cooking with Yampy, we value clean, safe, and enjoyable cooking, which is why I go and share medical facts about myself with the public on YouTube. Or whatever platform you're watching this on. Alright, now that's good. So I am going to turn off the oven. I'll let it stew for a little while longer, just, you know, for the sake of the cinnamon sticks and stuff, just as the oven cools. And then I'm going to, you know, obviously I'm not going to eat this whole thing now. I'm going to separate it out into a couple different containers, because this will be like several days worth of meals, which will be nice, you know. Budget home cooking. This took well, I didn't track how much I spent on the ingredients, but, you know, with what, well, it was definitely longer than an hour because I filmed it, but you could probably make this in 30 minutes to an hour or so on your own, and, you know, have meals for either a whole family, because, you know, this is probably plenty for a family of 4 to 5, or, you know, plenty of meals for yourself, so that's cool. And I would suggest adding cheese, and if you have fresh cilantro to put on top, that'd probably be good. What else goes well with chili? You could use it in tacos, perhaps, or dip chips in it or something. But yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Cooking with Yampy. Man, I wish I had some sort of quip with which to close it out, but sadly I don't. So, I hope you have a wonderful day and year and rest of your life. And I will see you guys in the next episode in 2 years.